points about what is the meaning of compensation, what is compensation management, and what includes in compensation management that we had discussed. Now we will be talking about the importance of compensation management. Very simple points are there for the benefits which states or which gives us the benefits or importance of compensation management that we will be discussing now. So first one is compensation management indicates the relative worth of different jobs. So with the help of compensation, it is easier for any person to know the relative worth of the job in the organization. Relative worth of the job, it means that the compensation, if the compensation is more for a particular job, it indicates that this particular job, which is given more compensation, is having more weightage in the organization as compared to the other job, which is given less compensation. So manager's job is given more weightage. So if more compensation is being given to the manager as compared to supervisor or executive, we can very easily find out that which job is worth more in the organization. So that is the first option, first important factor. Second one, establishing the hierarchy of posts. Again, a hierarchy of jobs. Very simple. Compensation, more compensation means hierarchy wise, the job will be having say the upper hierarchy in the organization. Now, more compensation is given to general manager when we compare the compensation of manager. So we can say that general managers is enjoying higher hierarchy than the hierarchy of the manager. Next one, useful for introducing satisfactory, rational, and balanced wage structure. Satisfactory wage structure. Satisfactory wage structure means which satisfies the people who are working in the organization. So one of the important feature of compensation management says that it is so designed that it satisfies all the employees in the organization. So as per their designation, as per their position in the organization, the employees are paid compensation and they are satisfied with the compensation. Next one, promotes employee goodwill. If the employee is satisfied with the compensation which he receives for his job, if the person is satisfied with his salary, if the person is satisfied with incentives and benefits associated with the salary, automatically it will promote goodwill of the organization. Next one, provide scientific base for promotion and transfer. It provides scientific base for promotion and transfer. During our last unit where we had discussed about performance evaluation, once the performance evaluation is done, the organization comes to know that who are the people in the organization, who are the employees in the organization who can be given more salary, more who can be given say promotions in the organization. Next one, avoids injustice to the worker. So compensation management avoids injustice to the workers. All the workers who are working in the organization, they are paid compensation for the work which they are rendering in the organization. So for 1 month, when a worker is working in an organization, at the end of that month, the employee is paid compensation for the work which he has done for the organization. So once he receives compensation, we can say that it avoids injustice. It is not that the company is getting the work done from the employee, but they are not paying. Importance of compensation says that once the person completes month's job or 15 days job or a weekly job, whatever the policy of the organization is, the person is paid for that work, and that is compensation. Next one, vague feelings and suspicion of avoids vague feelings and suspicion of unfairness. Suspicion of unfairness, it will be there in the organization, it will be there in the minds of the employee if they do not receive compensation for the work done. That I am doing my work for a period of 1 month, whether I'll be receiving the salary for it or not, I'm not sure. If this suspicion is there in the minds of the employee, that we are working, but whether we will be receiving the salary or compensation or not, we are not sure. If this suspicion, if this doubt is there in the minds of the employee, then definitely their performance will not be very good, or their performance will not be up to the mark. So it avoids vagueness and suspicion from the employee's mind by clearing their doubt that once you have started working for the organization, it means that you will receive the compensation at the end of the month. Next, makes promotion and transfer more easily acceptable. Again, we have discussed this. Next one, simplifies wage administration. So in compensation management, we had discussed in our last lecture also that what includes compensation management, what all monetary and non-monetary parts or categories are included in compensation management. So when we are saying it simplifies wage administration, every organization has a clear-cut written policy that what will be included in the compensation management. That apart from basic pay, apart from regular salary, what other components will be included in the compensation if the employee is performing better on the job. So that way it simplifies wage administration. Last one, it facilitates adjustment of existing job within the existing wage structure. So it facilitates the adjustment of existing job within the existing wage structure. So for deciding the wage structure of a job, there is a process which we will be discussing in the next slide, that how the wages are, how the salary is fixed for a job. Analysis is done, job analysis is done, job specification and job description is done, and then the relative worth of the job is decided in the organization. And depending on the worth of the job in the organization, the compensation is also finalized for the job. So that way, it facilitates adjustment of job within the existing wage structure. Now, objectives of compensation management. What are the objectives of compensation management? Again, very simple. First one, acquire qualified personnel. Objective. The first objective of compensation management is acquire qualified personnel. Now, when a qualified personnel can be acquired, very simple logic, when the person is being paid good salary, good compensation, then only he will be attracted towards the organization, otherwise not. So one of the objective of compensation management is to acquire qualified personnel. Qualified personnel means talented people who are in possession of the required knowledge and skills for the job. Those people are called as qualified personnel. Here, qualified doesn't mean that the person is academically qualified for the job. Here, it also includes that apart from academics, the person should be having the required skills and required knowledge for that particular job. So that is acquire qualified personnel, how they can be acquired, how they can be hired, how they can be recruited. Very simple. If the compensation package is attractive, then only they will be acquired, then only they will be attracted. Retain present employees. If good compensation is being paid to the employees, definitely it will help the employees to retain them. Now, suppose in a particular area, there are two automobile manufacturing companies, Company A and Company B. Company A is paying the workers 20,000 rupees, whereas Company B is paying 25,000 rupees. So it means to retain present employee, Company B has increased the salary of the workers to retain them. So what will happen when Company A employees will come to know that the compensation is far better in Company B, they will get attracted towards Company B. So whenever they will receive any information regarding openings in Company B, definitely they will be attracted to join Company B because it is offering more compensation. So to retain present employees, it is very essential that the company should have a good compensation package. Next one. Now here also, please remember, retention means retaining employee, but it doesn't mean retaining all the employees of the organization. Nowadays, when we talk about retaining employees, it means retention of competent employees, retention of good performers, not other employees, not all the employees. So that is retain present employees. Next one, ensure equity. Equity means equality. So two workers who are working in organization, both are having same seniority, both are working on the same type of job. So both should be paid equal compensation. It should not happen that performance wise they are same. They are working on the same job. They are having same seniority. So everything is same. But one of the worker is a close relative of HR manager. So he is being paid more compensation than the other worker. If such thing happens, we cannot say that there is compensation equality present in the organization. Compensation equality means that employees working on same job should receive same compensation. So that is ensure equity. So one of the objective of compensation management is that it ensures compensation equity. Equal salary should be paid to the employees in the organization working on the same jobs. But it doesn't mean that suppose two workers are worker, one is an average worker, he's an average performer. The other one is a excellent performer or top performer. Then there can be different pay for the average performer and the top performer. Basic pay will remain same, but incentive will vary. So that will also be counted under equality in pay. Why it will be counted under equality of pay? Because the base pay is same, but the incentives are different, and the incentives in all the organizations are based on performance. They are not based on basic pay, or they are not based on seniority of the person in the organization. So that is why it is also included in the equality. Next one, reward desired behavior. Reward desired behavior is again one of the objective of the compensation management. The organization should reward desired behavior. Desired behavior means every organization wants its employee to be the best performer. All the employees in the organization should be best performers, and that is what every organization desires. Now, when we talk about reward desired behavior, out of 50 people, 6 employees are, or they have exceeded the target. Whatever target which was set by the organization, they have exceeded, their performance have exceeded that particular target. So they have achieved the desired behavior of the organization, because every organization wants its employee to achieve the target or to go beyond the target. That is what is expected. Now here, when these employees have achieved the target, or if they have gone beyond the target, then these employees should be rewarded by better compensation packages. That is the objective of compensation management. Controls costs. Now we have discussed that whenever the compensation of a particular job is to be decided, it is not decided in a vague manner that okay, manager's job is there, so he should be paid 50,000. Supervisor's job is there, he should be paid 30,000. Worker's job is there, he should be paid say 20,000. General manager is there, he should be paid 2 lakhs per month. So this is not done vaguely in the organization. We have just now discussed that proper analysis of the job, hierarchy of that particular job, analysis of role and responsibilities associated with that job. So all this type of analysis is done before finalizing the package, the compensation for that particular job. It is not decided by the organization in a vague manner. So everything is decided on the results of the survey of that particular job, or the analysis, job specification, job description related to that particular job. Next one, comply with legal regulation. Again, an important objective of compensation management. Comply with legal regulations. Legal regulations means there are certain laws related to compensation management. These laws are to be followed by all the organization. No organization in the country can avoid any of the law related to compensation management. So whatever is expected in the law, that this should be the minimum salary, this is how the salary should be paid, only these things can be deducted from the salary of the employee. If these points are mentioned in various laws related to compensation management, then these laws are to be followed by the organization. Now, there are some laws related to compensation management, like Payment of Wages Act 1936. Under that, it is mentioned how the salary of the employee is to be given, then what all can be deducted from the salary of the employee. It should not happen that an employee is absent for one day and the organization has its own policy. The organization has its own policy that if an employee will remain one day absent, his 7-day salary will be deducted. So such type of rule which is made by the organization, and even if it is signed by the employee was in urgent need of job. So at the time when he joined that particular job, he was compelled to sign the job agreement. And in that job agreement, it is included, it is written in bold letters that if you remain absent for one day, your 7-day salary will be deducted. And he has signed. That means he has okayed, he has agreed with the terms and conditions. But these terms and conditions which are framed, which are included in the job agreement of the employee by the organization, as they are against the law, they will not be accepted in the court of law. So it is against law. So every organization has to follow the provisions made by various laws related to compensation management. So first law is the Payment of Wages Act 1936. Then comes the Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Minimum Wages Act 1948, which says that minimum the organization has to pay its worker this much of salary. no organization can pay below that minimum level which is fixed by the law. Suppose if the minimum entry level salary for a worker is being fixed at 15,000 rupees per month, no organization can pay less than 15,000 to the worker in the organization who is working in the organization. So they have to follow, and that is because of Minimum Wages Act. Next act, which is related to this compensation management, is bonus, Payment of Bonus Act 1965, which says that every year, once in a year, every organization has to pay bonus to the employees. How much bonus is to be paid? What is the maximum limit of the bonus? What is the minimum limit of the bonus? Again, it is mentioned in the law. So as per the law, every organization has to pay bonus. How much bonus is to be paid? That is also mentioned in the law. Next law related to compensation management is the Gratuity Act 1972. Now, this particular act is related to, or it concentrates on the life of employee after retirement. To protect the retirement of the workers working in the organization, every organization has to have this facility which is called as gratuity facility. Normally, or the general eligibility for getting gratuity is the employee should have worked in an organization continuously for 5 years. If he works in the organization continuously for 5 years, automatically he becomes eligible for gratuity. Now, under Gratuity Act, a person who has worked, say, for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, or 32 years in an organization, how much gratuity can be paid, how it is calculated, everything is mentioned under Gratuity Act. Next compensation related act is Provident Fund Act, Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1972. Now again, this act is trying to protect the afterlife, retired life of the workers. When they are not working, when they do not have money in their hand so that they can live a decent life. To protect the old age of the employees who have retired from the organization, the concept of Provident Fund is also there. So again, Provident Fund, it's a simple concept. Everyone is aware of that. There are two shares in the Provident Fund. One is paid by the employee. The other one is equal type of contribution is given by the employer or the organization. And a amount is accumulated, and that accumulated amount is called as Provident Fund. Generally, at the end of the service, at the end of the career of the employee, he takes out that Provident Fund, that amount, which helps him to live life in a better manner. That is, after retirement, he can live a better life. So that is the provision for that. So these are some of the main acts related to compensation management. Every organization which is deciding the worth, or which is deciding the compensation to be paid for a particular job, has to keep in mind that these laws, they all the provisions mentioned under these laws, they have to keep in mind, they have to follow it. And all the compensation management, whatever compensation they are deciding, it should be based on these laws. No compensation can be decided by the organization against the provision of any of the law related to compensation management. That is, comply with legal regulation. Further, administrative efficiency. Further administrative efficiency means it improves the administrative efficiency in the organization. There are less chances of dispute if if the compensation related uh, uh, rules are clear in the organization. Now, compensation related rules means that once the employee completes a month of service in the organization, before 5th of next month, he will be paid salary. If this is the rule, that means that before 5th of every month, before 7th of every month, before 10th day of the next month, the employee will receive the salary. If such rules are in written form, and if these rules are followed by the organization, it will avoid disputes. Dispute will be there in the organization if the organization is paying the salary to the employees sometimes before the 5th day of next month, sometimes before the 10th day of the next month, sometimes before 15th day of the next month, sometimes it is not paying the salary, and they are paying, say, the salary of 2 months altogether. If such confusion is there, if the policies are not clear, then definitely it will affect the administrative working of the organization in a adverse manner. If everything is clear, then there are less chances of dispute. So these were some of the objectives of compensation management. Now we will talk about the compensation management process, how the compensation is decided for a particular job. What is that process which decides the worth of the job in an organization? First one, analysis of the job. So in our chapter number 2, we had discussed about the job analysis. We have discussed two parts of job analysis, that is job specification and job description. So same thing is applicable here, analysis of the job. Now, manager's job is to be studied. So salary for manager is to be finalized. So first, what will be done? First, the job analysis of that job will be done. So analysis of the job. Then evaluation of the job. Evaluation of the job means what is the hierarchy of that job in the organization? What is the value of that job in the organization? That will be studied. Then developing pay structure. Third stage is pay structure will be developed for that particular job. It will not be finalized at this level. it will be developed that the manager's job is worth in the organization like this. So it should be paid, say between 50,000 to 70,000 or 40,000 to 80,000, whatever. So that is called as developing the pay structure. Next one, survey of wages and salary. Of wages and salary. In survey, what generally happens is the organization tries to find out that what the other organization in the same industry, its employee at that particular level. Suppose automobile industries are there. So one automobile industry will definitely try to find out that what the other automobile industry is paying to its employee. So that is survey of wages and salary. Next one, pricing of the job. Then the pricing of the job is done. That is, the salary is fixed for that particular job. Last one, revision and control. Compensation revision means it is not that once a salary is fixed for years together, also. So every year there should be revision in the compensation. Then only the person will be attracted, or then only the person will be retained by the organization. If once the organization has decided that, okay, manager will be paid 50,000 rupees salary for a period of 5 years, 5 years, there will be no raise in the salary. There will be no rise in the salary. If such thing happens, then it will be difficult for the organization to retain good performers, because good performer means that every year the employee wants increase in salary. Then only he will feel motivated to achieve better targets in the organization. So one of the best motivating factor, we are not saying that money is the only motivator, but money is regarded as one of the best motivating factor for the employee. So that way, compensation revision and control. So it is to be revised, it is to be controlled also. Next one, current trends in compensation. What are the current trends in compensation? Apart from basic salary, apart from regular salary, what extra incentives or benefits which can be provided to the employee to retain them, to motivate them for better performance, that we will be discussing under current trends in compensation. What are the current trends which are being followed by various organizations? And insurance scheme. Now here group mediclaim is there, then insurance scheme is there. One more mediclaim is very popular nowadays, and it is family insurance or family mediclaim. Family insurance. Now, as per law, in various industries, it is compulsory that they have to insure the employee. So law talks about only the employee who is working in the organization, that he should be insured. But to retain that employee, but to motivate that employee for better performance, now the companies are going beyond the law. That apart from ensuring the person, they're also ensuring the entire family of the person. Mediclaim facilities. So entire family insurance is given to the employee. So if anyone in the family is not well, he can get free treatment because that person in the family is being covered by the organization with the help of Mediclaim, family Mediclaim facility. Next one, personal accident insurance scheme. As the name itself suggests, if the employee meets with an accident during the job, then he will receive the benefits of the insurance scheme. Next one, company leased accommodation, which are providing this facility also, and that facility is company leased accommodation. Now, company leased accommodation, it is very simple. Everyone knows about it, that the generally, not always, generally, it is a facility which is provided to the topmost people of the organization. It can be general manager, CEO, managing director, senior managers of the organization who are being provided with the company leased housing facility, company's housing facility, that fully furnished flats or fully furnished bungalows are uh, provided to the general managers or senior managers of the organization to retain them, to motivate them for better performance. Corporate credit cards. So instead of getting the individual or personal credit card, corporate credit cards which are having better limit. Suppose personal card is having a limit of 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees. It may have, say, a limit of 5 lakh rupees also. It depends upon organization to organization. So organization can provide with this corporate credit cards to the employees. Now, all these facilities are for top performance, are for good employees in the organization, which the employee wants to retain, not for the employees who are average employees, average performers, and whom the organization doesn't want to retain. Next one, club memberships. Various clubs are there, we all know, and the membership of these clubs are very costly to attract or to retain or to motivate the employees, good employees. The organization is paying the membership on behalf of the employees. Now, again, these employees are also designated at the highest level of the organization. General manager. Now, general manager can be given if he is a very good performer, if he has contributed handsomely to the profits of the organization. Now, the organization can pay for the membership of a club, a good club. That membership can be, say, 1 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees, or more than that yearly. So that can be paid by the organization. Then recreation facilities are provided to the employees. Generally, these recreation facilities are provided to all the employees in the organization. Next one, mobile phone and laptops. There are certain companies which are providing mobile phones and laptops to the employees, and there are some companies which are having policies also, that if you are there in the company for, say, 3 years, and if you say leave the company after 3 years, you can take the company laptop with you also. It will be your laptop after 3 years, after 4 years. So such policies are there which are being implemented by some of the companies. Personal health care. Personal health care means regular medical checkups. Nowadays, because of stress, because of hectic schedule, or because of various other reasons, there is, say, the health is definitely being affected of the employees who are working in the organization when we compare to the earlier days. So nowadays, there is a need for regular medical checkup. So these regular medical checkup can be sponsored by the organization. And some of the organization has started sponsoring the regular medical checkups. The employees are referred to various hospitals. They can go to visit various hospitals and they can do their med free, because all the charges will be paid by the organization. Next one, loan facilities. Some of the companies are providing certain type of loan also to the employees at a minimum rate of interest. Next one, educational benefits for higher studies. Now, educational benefits, the employees of the organization which are showing great potential, these employees can be deputed for higher studies. The fees of that particular institution is, that fees is being paid by the organization. So that is called as educational benefits. Now, next one, factors influencing compensation plan. First one, financial ability of the organization. We are talking about factors influencing compensation plan of an organization. That what are the factors which influences or which decides how much compensation, how much package, how much salary shall be paid for an employee in the organization. Employee means the lower level employee also, the middle level employee also, and the higher level employee also. So for a worker, how much salary will be paid? For supervisor, how much salary will be paid? For manager, how much salary will be paid? For general manager, how much salary will be paid? So what are those factors which decides this package, that we are going to discuss now. First one, financial ability of the organization. First factor, very simple factor, very logical factor, and that factor is financial ability of the organization. So financial ability, that means if the organization is financially very sound, then right from the job of the worker to the job of the general manager, everyone will receive more salary when it is compared to the another organization in the same industry. Now, why they are being paid more? Because the organization is having more capital with it. It is having more money available with it. So financial ability of the organization is the first factor which decides how much compensation will be paid to the employees of that organization. Next one, government rules and regulation. Now, government rules and regulation means they are in the form of various laws. As we have discussed, that there is a law which is called as Payment of Minimum Wages Act 1948. Now, Payment of Minimum Wages Act, it concentrates only on one factor, and that factor is that this is the minimum wage slab for a worker, and no organization can pay the worker below this slab. So if the Minimum Wages Act for says that a worker who is working in a pharmaceutical company shall receive a wage or salary of 15,000 per month minimum. Maximum it is up to the organization can pay this worker not 15,000, it can pay 50,000 also. It depends upon organization. So there is no maximum limit, but minimum limit, yes, the law has fixed a minimum limit. So when we are talking about government and rules and regulation, every organization has to follow this government rule. There the organization cannot give a excuse related to financial ability of the organization. Financially we are not sound, financially we are not having that much of capital with us, so we are unable to pay 15,000 rupees to the worker. We can pay only 12,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees, as we are not financially very sound. We are not earning profits for the last 2 years. So we have decided that instead of 15,000, we will be paying 12,000 or 10,000 to the entry level workers. So this cannot be accepted. The excuse is not available to the organization under financial ability to pay, because the government has made a regulation that this is the minimum limit, not below this. Above, yes, it is up to the government. Next one, management philosophy. Management philosophy means that what is the philosophy of the organization? Philosophy of the organization can be that we want to be the best organization in a particular industry, say in automobile industry or pharmaceutical industry or textile industry or other type of industry. The philosophy of the management is that we want to be the best. Now philosophy should not end here. How we are going to be best? By giving the best facility to the employees, by giving best compensation to the employees, by giving best rules and regulations to the employees. So if these are the philosophy of the organization, then the organization is definitely going to pay more to the employees. So that is the management philosophy. If the management philosophy is that we want to be the best, we will be paying the best salary in the available in the industry, we will be paying the best incentives and benefits, we will be providing the best facilities available. If this type of management philosophy is there, then we can be sure that the employees who are working in that organization will definitely receive better salary than the other similar type of organization. Next one, job requirements. Job requirement. Now, job requirement means that the salary or the compensation is dependent upon the job requirement. When we talked about the detailed analysis of the job before finalizing the salary for that particular job, it is related to that only, job requirement. If the requirement of the job is more, salary will be more. If the requirement of the job is less, salary will be less. Now, for example, there are requirement for the position of workers in the organization. The educational qualification required is the person should be, say, able to read and write. It is not mentioned that he should be 10th pass, 12th pass, or a graduate. What is expected is that he should be able to read and write. That is the only qualification required. So if the requirements are less, the salary will be less. When we talk about manager's job, the person should be MBA in a relative field. Then the person should have required years of experience with him. Then the person should be in possession of required skills. So if the requirement, if the job requirements are more, salary will be more. If job requirement is less, salary will be less. Cost of living. Now, cost of living, again, it is one of the factor which influences the salary structure. Cost of living of people in that particular city, in that particular area. So people who are living in, say, Pune, as the cost of living in Pune is higher when we compare it with the cost of living in Aurangabad, or cost of living in Ahmednagar, or cost of living in some other not so developed city. So here, if cost of living is more, the organization has to keep that factor also in mind, that if a worker is working in the factory which is situated in Pune, where the cost of living is more than, say, the other not so developed cities, then his salary should be slightly higher than the people who are working in those underdeveloped cities. So that is cost of living. Prevailing wage rates. Prevailing wage rates in other organizations. Prevailing wage rates which are being fixed by the government with the help of various laws, that is to be followed by the organization. Next one, demand and supply of labor. Demand and supply of labor, again, very logical and very simple. If demand is more and supply is less, automatically the compensation paid will be more. If supply is more and demand is less, automatically the compensation will be less. So these are the major factors which influences the compensation package of the employee. So it is already 7, so we will stop here. We will be say our next lecture we will be conducting on Monday. So on Monday, we will be talking about wage differentials and linking the compensation with performance. So that we will be discussing during our next session on Monday at 6 a.m. So thank you everyone for attending today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.